Abiotic Factor, a name that I know I'll mispronounce to the day I die, and will most likely continue to mispronounce during the course of this review, is the latest in the ongoing trend of indie crafting survival games. Yes, I know we're not really hurting for choice in the market here for a crafting indie survival game, but let me say three little words that will at least raise your eyebrows in general curiosity and pleasant surprise. Half Life Metroidvania. Now we've gone from curiosity to attention. Abiotic Factor, or AF as I will call it for short to avoid that mispronunciation I was talking about earlier, is a crafting survival game in a setting what I can only describe as one part Australian and one part Black Mesa from Half Life, with progression tied into the exploration of the facility rather than your get more food, get better tools to fight the bigger things. You're tasked with trying to escape from a facility that is in lockdown due to a containment breach of unknown horrors that is wreaking havoc throughout the base. This all takes place in part of the tutorial in the first 15 minutes of the game, acting as a tutorial as well as your introduction, onboarding experience into Australian Black Mesa. AF follows the basic survival crafting indie guidebook that all indie crafting survival games have been built upon. You need to break the things to gather the materials to make the tools to gather the more things. You'll have to eat, you'll have to sleep, you'll have to drink, and you'll have to poop, as well as avoid certain environmental hazards. At night, more terrors will begin, and will come out more and more. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, but what I do ask is for you to tweak the formula, and AF has certainly tweaked the formula. The first thing you'll notice is that you're in an office complex setting, rather than being out in the bush. You're not gathering wood and stone to build a shack to eventually upgrade into a castle like you've done over and over again in the other crafting survival games. You're looking for the right room in your workplace, in your office environment that you can hunker down in. Instead of bushes and rocks to make tools and equipment, you're using couches to barricade doors. You're looking for ventilation systems to sneak around to get into the kitchen to get a muffin. You're looking for power sockets to power your equipment and your tools. Look me dead in the eyes and tell me you've never gone to work once and looked at the boardroom and went, if we put the couch up against the wall and got the water cooler in there, I bet you we could hunker down and defend that place for days. In other survival games, the loop is the same. You gather materials to make tools, to gather more materials to make even better tools to make your survival even easier. AF, the goal is to escape the facility which is on lockdown due to the alien breach. You're looking to gather materials and supplies to be able to open doors and pathways to escape through the facility deeper and deeper. From locked doors to alien threats to portals to different locations around the world and possibly time. The crafting opens up the Metroidvania part of the game. As you explore and you gather more materials, you'll be making recipes for things like rope ladders, bridges, ramps, and hacking tools to unlock doors and pathways that allow you to get deeper and deeper within the facilities, as well as make shortcuts to get you back to your original point. But because you're moving deeper and deeper, you don't get settled into one place. You'll often find yourself packing up and moving, as the traversal time getting back up is just not worth the effort, so you'll move your outpost deeper and deeper. It keeps it nice and fresh, and this was one of the things I get bored and burnt out with in other survival games like Rust or Ark. You'll eventually stake your claim and you'll just refuse to move, so large sections of the game world and map you'll just have to ignore because it's not worth the time investment to go exploring all the way on the other side of the map, leaving your place undefended. But because of AF's design, the outposts and base camps that you set up are nice and easy to pack up and move, and you're encouraged to keep on moving. On your adventure at Australia Black Mesa, you can bring up to an additional 5 friends, allowing up to 6 people to play. However, the requirements feel like it's built around the idea of maybe 3 to 4 players being a part of a party. 5 to 6 feels like there's going to be a couple of people with not much to do. The crafting and the gathering feels like it's built around the 3 to 4 player marks. Maybe some combat encounters would be a lot easier with the extra firepower, so you know what, maybe more the merrier. As you're in an office environment, the crafting materials will be what you expected. We're talking the legs off of chairs, rubber bands, pens, and even desk phones. Recipes are discovered by picking up items and combining them in what's called the inspiration menu. The problem I have with the inspiration menu is it's a bit of a time waste and feels like an unnecessary step. As you pick up enough items, you'll eventually get the idea of a recipe, and you'll be able to go into the inspiration menu to combine a certain random assortment of items to unlock the recipe. The problem is there's no penalty for incorrectly guessing, and there's no trial and error as it's only a random assortment of items, and it just removes them if it's an incorrect guess, eventually giving you the recipe. So it just feels like it's just there to waste time and have some padding. I will give them praise though, they have the option to be able to share recipes with everyone in the party. This avoids that whole awkward thing of having to craft some meaningless items to eventually get everyone to have the same recipe pool, and this makes it way easier to get new people in on your server. You'll be crafting the usual assortment of survival gear, but it'll have that office twist to it. We're talking magazines and books duct taped to your body as armor, a spear that might be made from a tall lamp, to a shield that's made from a food tray. As you craft and you kill and explore, you'll level up your stats, which mostly breaks down to do X better or Y faster, with an occasional extra effect or ability that you can use in amongst these things. So, example, you might get your cooking to level 4 to unlock the ability to make soups. Sneaking will eventually give you the ability to do a combat role. As we know, in most survival games, the nighttime is the most dangerous time, and I was curious how a game set indoors was going to approach a day and night cycle, and it has a very clever in-game universe exploration. At 9 o'clock, the facility goes into shutdown mode and a power saving mode. So your power turns off, the lights turn off, and the sockets for all your equipment turns off so you can't use your equipment. There's also the exploration that there are security drones that will start wandering the facility at night for everyone's safety, but the software is a little glitchy, so this is how you have your more dangerous foes appearing in the middle of the night. As well as some potentially insane NPCs that may be there to help, but then again, it might just be Jim who's been on the hooch a little too much. The graphics for AF are running on the Unreal 5 engine, and honestly, I couldn't tell that it was. I do like the art style, I find it very charming, and honestly, I think it will help it age more gracefully. The problem when you're running games with Unreal 5 is while they can make some hyper realistic, look, blink twice is it real, is it not sort of games, the problem with hyper realism is the games tend to blend. They've made the smart decision in the art styles, I feel it's going to help the game age much more better. It's also got the benefit with the art style being this way that it's not going to have that hyperrealism issue where things tend to kind of blend and you can't really find the materials and items in the environment. Which, speaking of the environment, for a game with what you could count as either cute or retro, the game never ceases to keep me on edge. You'll hear the groaning and moaning of monsters and unknown horrors throughout the facilities, the screams of unmet co-workers that are being what I can assume is mauled by some unknown beast, and the dead of night with the facility being eerily quiet, it just gives me the chills. The problems I have with AF are really minor and hopefully easy to fix. For example, your crafting bench has the ability to be upgraded to access materials in nearby storage lockers, but the same option isn't available for your repair bench, so you'll need to dig through all your storage to find the materials to repair your equipment. Then comes the map system, which is honestly just hot garbage. It gives no real indication of your location, there's no option to make any notes, it's just honestly worthless. And of course, there's the inspiration system, which is just a time waste and has no real risk reward tied to it. AF has been mostly stable and bug free with my time. I've only had a couple of hard crashes and one strange bug that stopped me from being able to label some boxes. There's also some exploit spots that you can sit to essentially gather unlimited sneaking XP or some easy kills, but the game's been getting frequently patched, so potentially these issues might have been patched out by the time you get to this review. Honestly, Abiotic Factor is a breath of fresh air in the gluttonous and oversaturated marketplace that is the crafting survival scene. You'll come for the Half-Life inspiration, but you'll stay for the Metroidvania gameplay. Thank you so much for watching my review of Abiotic Factor. We'll be streaming this regularly. We've got a few more streams of the game, I think, before we hit the game's conclusion. If you want to hang out with some nerds, feel free to give us a follow over on Twitch. If you've enjoyed this review, feel free to do the usual comment, like, and all that stuff. It gives me the warm fuzzies and lets me know that you've been enjoying these reviews. Anyway, I've been the Welshy One. You take care of yourselves out there. You know, I really reckon my boardroom at my first job would have been a great defensible point. I tried to move the couch in there, but my bosses are like, "You're meant to be building computers," and I'm like, "I don't care. I want to make a bunker." What a loser.